Ironclad rule: never buy a car or a truck or an SUV until you have first physically inspected it. And I mean, you put your hands on the vehicle. You don't inspect the pictures from online. You go out and you see the car and you take a good look. Ironclad rule. Join me in this edition of Bill's Guide, Buying and Selling Used Cars. Welcome to another edition of Bill's Guide, Buying and Selling Used Cars. I'm Bill Rosen, author of Bill's Guide, Buying and Selling Used Cars, available on Amazon and other fine retailers. Pick up a copy and let me know what you think. If you haven't taken a moment yet to like and subscribe, please do so now. Would really appreciate that. Today, we're starting the first of a four-part series on inspecting the car or the truck, in today's case, that you're looking at buying. Today, we're going to talk about the exterior, meaning also underneath the vehicle. Next time, we'll go interior and we'll look at the inside of a car. Third, we will look into the engine compartment. And finally, we will go on a test drive. First thing I do before I ever start the vehicle is I take a slow walk around the vehicle and see what we have. Let's start. I come around. A lot of times I will look right down the side of the car or the truck. I'm looking to see if everything is lined up properly. A lot of times by looking down the side of a car, you can see if things are out of alignment. You can tell if there's been an accident perhaps that the seller is not telling you about. I come around, I look at the chrome or the plastic that looks like chrome as we go. I'm looking at emblems. Is everything tight? I'm looking at the glass. I come along and you really need to look at the glass, because a lot of times on an older vehicle, and this is a 95 Ford F150 4x4, beautiful truck by the way, but if that's original glass, it could be pitted. Even if it only has, this one I think 58,000 miles, glass can be pitted. This glass is in good shape, or it could have a small rock chip in it, or a crack along the way. You want to know that. Those things are not deal killers, but you need to know they exist, because later if you decide to buy it, you need to think through, what's it going to cost me to put this vehicle in the condition I need it to be? Whether I'm keeping it or whether I'm selling it, it really doesn't matter. Knowing helps you to factor in your negotiation, which may happen later if you decide to go forward. I'm looking at the wing windows. Mirrors, are they in good shape? These are supposed to move. They move, it's okay. I'm coming along, I'm looking at door seals here. We'll go inside next time. I'm looking at door seals. These door seals clearly have been replaced. They're nice and soft, they're supple. That's a really good thing. Door hinges, you hear that? Doors are heavy. And over time, on the hinges, the pins become a little bit loose. And so, not a big deal, but I can feel it. There's probably a 1/4 inch right there. Looking at the box section, this vehicle's got 2 different tanks. Now, as I look at the box here, what I see is this truck has been used as a truck. This has not been the Saturday night, look how cool my truck is, it's perfect. This is a truck that has been used as a truck. You can see lots of scuffs, lots of scratches. It looks like it's even gone through some brush, and you've got some long scratches here. Again, is that a deal killer? No, it's a truck. It's okay, but it's good to know that they're there. As I come around the tailgate, I see right here, look at all the scratches here. That could be repainted, it can be reshot. Hope you don't mind my neighbor doing his work over here. This black piece of trim here, the back trim, you see that's dented up here. Like somebody dropped this thing, this tailgate, and there was something under it, right there. This is all replaceable. And it's something like this. These are now considered classic, these OBS 9th generation, 92 to 96. F-150s, 250s, 350s. A lot of this stuff is now available in reproduction, as well as some NOS, new old stock. Look at the bumper. Clearly somebody has backed into something in a parking lot. Could have been a concrete post or a metal post or something. These bumpers are not cheap, but they are available. And a lot of this plastic here, look how loose that is. So, and these things just have plastic tabs under there that cinch into the metal. So if you want this to be nice, this needs to be replaced. There's a big dent right here. You could buy a tailgate or you could clean it up yourself and paint it either way. Coming around this side, it's nice that it has the bed liner, which means that probably under here it's nice. Probably not dented and rusted. Same scratches we saw from the other side. Lots of scuffs here, some scratches, but it's straight. It's nice. This could easily be cleaned up and repainted if you needed to do that or if you wanted to. This one has a slider window, and this is one of the factory windows where somebody checked the box that said, I want a slider. These things are notorious leakers. And around these seals right here, I talked to a glass guy one time and I said, how often do these leak? And he said, they all leak. That was hilarious. But and these seals are available for replacement as well. But they do leak commonly. And this light up here, the cab light, that has been replaced. That's an LED. They didn't come LED. They came incandescent, of course. And those things leak as well. By the way, if you have a truck and you can't figure out why it's wet on the inside, check the seals on those things. They're little foam seals. They dry up over time. They harden. Water gets in. Water penetration. You've got this kind of a section between the top here and the inside. Water gets in there, collects, runs everywhere. Take a look at this glass. Now, I don't know if you can see this, our cameraman. Do you see all those little pits? See all those pits? I can feel them. I can see them and I can feel them. Also on the wing window here. Those might be able, some of that might be able to be polished out, but those are bad. It looks like somebody went through a windstorm or something. I don't know what happened here, but there's a lot of pitting on the glass right here. Good news is that the glass is available for replacement if you were so inclined. These move. These move fine. Again, look at the front windshield. I think this windshield has been replaced. It looks really, really clear. Chrome's in good condition. Coming around, looking at the metal, is everything intact? Tires are in great condition. They're brand new tires, clearly, and the rims are all in really good condition as well. Coming around the front, take a look at this grill. Do you see this? If you just looked online and saw the pictures and you thought it was beautiful, you wouldn't know that this is broken. These holders are plastic, and over time they get brittle, they dry out, and they become very susceptible to breakage. Sometimes you can just replace this whole thing, or you can even try to fix that. And I've fixed stuff like this in the past with plastic welding. It works great. Someday I'll do a video on welding plastic. It's pretty eye-opening. Take a look at this bumper here. See that front bumper? Remember the back bumper? Well, the front bumper is really no better. You can see that somebody has run into something over here and really thrown that off. Coming around, we get to where we started. So one of the things you need to check always, particularly on an older vehicle like this, again, it's 30 years old, is the possibility that you've got body cancer. And that's where there's rust that's not just surface rust, but it's actually gone in and begun to eat away the metal. And a lot of times what guys will do who are in a hurry to sell something is they'll do a little wire wheeling on the body cancer, the rust, and then they'll just kind of slap a bunch of fiberglass or some body filler like Bondo, and then sand and paint and say we're good to go. And really then you've got a bad fix and you've got maybe a structural problem if it's in an area that needs structure. So one of the things you want to do is, because tires are always throwing up dirt and moisture, dirt and mud and sand, it packs in back in here and then it stays wet. And so areas like this are usually fine, but areas here, a lot of times in here, you can hear it get really like thump, thump, thump. It's like, versus like that. One way of, if you suspect that there could be some body filler there that's not been reported, again, whatever you find, depending on the price you pay and how much you're willing to put into it or pay to have it done, almost nothing is too far gone as long as you get it at the right price. What you can do is you can take an old-fashioned handkerchief and you can then take a magnet. Now that sticks on there, but let's say that there was body filler here. This thing could get really easy to pull off. Kind of same way as this. You put that there and it falls off because the magnetism. And this is plastic, so it's not going to stick, right? Okay, that sticks. Okay, so if we hit body filler and we just kind of fell off like that, you'd know that there's something other than metal. We're in the bed of the truck right now taking a look at the top of the cab. It's easy to miss the top of a vehicle because it's high and you're not as high as that. So take a look here. A lot of times what I find is, especially in a truck, is that people who have gone to drive-in movies, maybe not so much these days, or they're out at the lake, people like to sit on top of trucks, and oftentimes I see two imprints from two friends who've been sitting on top of the truck, and you don't really notice it when you're on the ground, but you can see it, and they can puddle, and that can actually, it looks pretty bad, and it can also create problem where water can sit for a while and finally maybe you begin to rust through. Again, you want to take a look at the windows, make sure that these all work. Glass is nice here. Glass is in really good shape. Take a look at this. You get a better shot of it here. JB Weld or epoxy has gone into the seam right here. They probably had water intrusion and they thought it's probably coming in from over here, or perhaps it's coming in from over here. Could have been. It could have been coming in from the seal, or it could have been coming in right here. Again, notorious leaking problem right here. People never think of it because they think, how can the water get in? But the seals go bad, and on the older original versions, the water can get right in between here as well, not just here and you replace the seal and it still leaks. But this new one is completely sealed in the front and they're nice. And by the way, they don't run your battery down when you have them on because they're LED, they hardly take any juice. So let's take a look, gotta make sure the tailgate opens. Sometimes these things, if they've been hit, these get out of alignment. There's these rods that run either way. When you pull this open, it kind of goes like this and pulls them in. Good shape. It's got rubber here that it's hard, it's old, it's hard, but it's okay. All the pieces are here. Cable's kind of eaten up, but you know what? It opens, and this tailgate will come off. You can pick it up on one side and take these cables off, and you can remove your tailgate if you need to. Put a camper on there. All right, so you've inspected the exterior of the vehicle, you've looked at the glass, you've looked at the top of the cab, you've looked for possibility of some body cancer behind the tires. You got to go under the vehicle. You don't know what you're going to find. I have crawled under vehicles and they look beautiful. I've crawled under other ones and I've found broken transmission cases. I've found massive leaks, shock absorber mounts, lots of things. So you really need to get under it. It's always good to have a light. Now we're broad daylight now. Doesn't hurt to have this light. Okay, so I'm going to put this down here. Let's take a quick look. All right. Okay, what I'm seeing so far is I'm not seeing any body cancer. What I am seeing is surface rust on this frame. This is a full frame truck. This is not a unibody. And you can see here the orange. That is all surface rust. And that may scare somebody, but in my experience, something like that is not a problem. You could take one weekend with a wire wheel and some OSFO or some other chemical that treats rust and then paint it and it would be beautiful again. And the rust would be gone for the next 10 or 15 years, or maybe longer. So this kind of thing is not a problem. What's more important is things like these brake cables for the emergency brake. How is that? How is the suspension here? I can see here that this rear sway bar, the rubber is really pushed out of shape, and it's pretty hard. I mean, it's not real supple the way it is when it's new. You can see that it's bulging, almost like a bulging disc in somebody's lumbar support or something. So you might think about replacing something like that. Then you can see all the bushings in here and these leaf springs. You can't see it, but I can see that the black rubber, this would have been rubber, wouldn't have been polyurethane, is cracked. And so it wouldn't be a bad idea to replace again, if you're keeping the vehicle and you want to have it for a long time, these things begin to squeak and they ride hard, and it would make it a quieter ride and a little better. Just again, I see some surface rust. What I don't see are any leaks. Sometimes if a vehicle has got a leaky transmission or transfer case or a front differential that's leaking, what you'll find is that as it drips and you're driving, the wind blows it back, the oil or gear oil will stick to the bottom of different parts. And then as you drive, all the dirt collects on it. And you can see that there's been a long-term leak by looking at that. And if you see that kind of thing, it's like it blows back and you've got this kind of like big trail, almost like a comet of grease and dirt. And that tells you there's been a leak over time. Okay, we're at the front of the vehicle. There's the front differential. It looks pretty nice. It's clean. I do see right here, it's wet. Now, is that wetness coming from something above that's dripping down, or is there some kind of bad seal right here? Not sure, and I'm not wearing gloves, so I'm not going to get into it. But you could have a problem right here with some leakage, and it could have been that somebody replaced the gear oil at one time. It dripped down. They wiped this part, didn't wipe that. I mean, it's hard to know. But the same kind of surface rust. This is a good chance to take a look at tie rod ends right here, shocks, see if there's anything broken, control arms. Everything looks pretty good. Again, 30 years old. And if something, even if it only has 58,000 miles on it, unless it's been sitting in a garage for the entire time where it's dry, you're going to have rust. So we have now looked at the exterior of the truck. We've walked around the entire 360 of it. We've been on top, we've been under, we've looked for rust in the wheel wells. We found that we've got a broken bracket here. We've got bumpers that are dented. We have paint that's not perfect. It's not perfect, but it's in really good condition. Even in the front here, you see lots of little chips, normal kind of things. So far, if I were looking at this vehicle, I would be happy with what I've found. At least I'm knowledgeable about what I need to do. Later on, if I'm buying this truck and I'm negotiating, I can very easily point out things like this. I can point out the bumpers and say it's going to be $300 a bumper maybe to replace those. And that's if I do it myself. So it's always good to know what you have. And if you don't put your hands on it, you don't know what you're getting. Very important. Remember the Ironclad rule? Always inspect the vehicle that you're looking at buying. Next time on Bill's Guide, we will go inside the truck, take a look at the interior, we'll look at all the electronics, the lights, and all of that kind of thing, and see what we see. So if you're still with me today, thanks for joining us. And again, like and subscribe. Appreciate that. Tell your friends.